All right, going to call the meeting to order here on October 18th of 2022 at 6 o'clock. We have board member roll call, approval of agenda, approval of minutes, possible training opportunities, and then old business, public comment, and then adjourn. So we got to do, I want to do board member roll call first.
Brian Harris.
Stacy Boxer.
Megan Randall.
Red Miller.
And John Bashy. All right, and we'll move on to approval of agenda. Everybody, any motion on that?
I'll make a motion. Sorry?
The agenda was kind of slim. I couldn't tell what's old business and the stuff we were talking about last time.
Oh, don't know until we get there.
I don't think we have any.
I'll call everyone up and tell them to listen in.
We just put old business on the agenda so that if you guys had anything about the municipal landing grant.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion. We approve the agenda.
Second.
Second, whoop,
Okay, motion approved.
Got that delay being on video.
Motion carries on that.
I'm gonna take a vote.
Take a vote.
Brian Harris, aye.
Stacy Boxer, aye.
Megan, I. Megan Randall, I.
Fred, aye.
And John's and I. So motion carries on that. Approval of minutes. Take a quick second to look through those, if you haven't yet.
It says call to order at 7. I think it was 6 PM.
Oh, yeah.
Not 7.
6. Yep.
Not a big deal.
And I think that's the biggest paragraph I've seen yet in that discussion.
Are we gonna have the DRB here?
What's that?
Gonna have someone from the DRB here?
Yeah, and Jim Sullivan from,
Originally, yes, we were gonna do that, but some of the stuff has changed now from what we did. I'm gonna go over that real quick.
Okay.
okay. Go ahead.
So I'll look for a motion or a second on that.
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, vote on it.
Brian Harris, aye.
Stacy Boxer, aye.
Megan, I. Megan Randall, I.
Fred, aye.
And John's an aye. So motion carries. All right, just to inform you, we were talking about the, some rule changes and stuff like that. I've got some new information right after that meeting. There was some new information that came in, and basically we have on the DRB, we have the right to, this come down from the state, that we have the right to do, to make judgments on any permits and stuff that come before us, regardless of if somebody doesn't like that decision, they have the right to then go forward with court. They can file it in court and do those types of things. That meeting that we had in August shouldn't have happened like that. We should have been able to just do our decision on it after all discussion we should have been able to do that based off of what the state said, so.
Wait a
As
minute,
far as, so as far as it sits right now, I don't think there's anything that needs to be changed in them because the bylaws are what we do. And we can make amends on the DRB, we can make changes to that, from what I understand.
So we should be discussing this under old business.
We can, yes, if we want to do that, we can put it under that.
Wait, John, you just said the DRB can change the bylaws?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I misheard that. Okay, so we can
So,
change.
I'll go over it again here in a minute. We'll do the
Okay.
first part and then we'll put that under old business. And I'll just discuss that again, just so
Okay.
everybody has it. Yeah, we'll do it under.
The
that. So
possible
let's do,
training.
Possible training opportunity.
Oh,
Tara's, under this, Tara's checking into it. The DRB has done a training. They're going to be doing training stuff on, so that the board members can get trained for what DRB roles are in the state and how the state does that. I asked Tara about it, and there is training for the planning commission. It's, she's trying to clarify the costs and stuff on it. Right now, there's an email that came back from her. It's basically saying that members' cost is $415 to do it. We're gonna try to, and you could do it from, online like this. So we're gonna see or she's checking to see if we can get the whole group together and do that for that cost, if we can do it that way and have the training. So that's gonna give us training as how planning commission operate.
That's
And
good.
it just gives everybody an opportunity to get some kind of training that way to help out. I think it would work great. Since DRB was doing it, I think it'd be great if planning commission did it too.
Are these
Yeah.
trainings live or are they?
Yeah, it would be a live thing that we would be doing with somebody
So it's a Zoom training
through
session?
Zoom, yeah. And if we could do it all right here, that would be great. We just do a meeting and set it up and get it done, so.
is that through
Megan has
Vermont
something.
League of Cities and Towns? Is that, who does it? VLCT? Is it
Yes.
Vermont? Yeah,
Yes, I believe that's who's doing it.
they do, their training is very thorough and,
They cover all their bases, that's for sure.
Yes. So
It
that,
takes
and
all
if it works out, that would be great. We can all get the training here too, if that's everybody.
For me, it would depend on the schedule. Like what day of the week, what time of day?
You're right, right.
So the cost is for something individually or for a seminar?
That's part of what Tara was looking into because it's $415 per attendee, I think it said, but if we were wondering if we did it like all in a group and it was only one screen, if we could.
If they like have a separate certificate of attendance for everybody, if that might be.
Yeah, so if we just wanted to, one of us wanted to log on, we think that's what it would cost. So we're just checking to see if we can get the whole group as one.
so
And if we
usually
have to,
the
we could
town
probably do it
pays
from
for
home.
these though, right?
There
The
were,
town usually pays for training, right?
there were some grants that covered the cost of the training. That was another question.
Yeah.
But she didn't know if specifically if this one was covered, but that was an option that she gave beforehand.
Yeah, she's looking into it. So I just wanted that on there so we can inform people ahead of time as potential for that. We
Okay,
got
good.
potential for this and hopefully it'll work out where we can.
Tara,
Great.
I'm just gonna look into it.
Yes, yeah.
So,
Actively doing it.
is there any other questions about it? Nothing, okay. All right, so we'll move on to old business. And basically what I was discussing is, the DRB had, and on that August meeting that we had for that permit at the time that we were looking into, the DRB, from my understanding now, they have the right to do that. They're a quasi judicial board. It's been approved by the state that, from what Tara was telling me, that they have the right to look at the permits and make that decision based off of what they have. That we could listen to, like we did, we could have listened to them, took their testimonies and stuff like that, and then we could go and deliberate and make a judgment.
But you can't make a judgment against the bylaws. You can't, the guy was right. The bylaws were not allowed.
No.
Maybe the guy was a little
No, it's
premature
based-
talking about legal action when he was threatening the process that needs to be followed. the DRB makes a decision, then there's an appeal.
Yeah. And then,
Then go down the road, maybe talk about legal action.
Right.
You don't come.
Yeah. Not right up.
Disrupt and disrail the
raise
whole
a,
meeting.
yeah, raise a ruckus, right, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right, and that's basically, so since that board has the power and the right to do that, we could have just made the decisions. If they didn't like the decision, that's fine, they could take the next step, but it was holding up our decision by what was going on in that meeting.
But
So that's what.
I wasn't at, yeah, I don't know. It must have been one of those contentious meetings.
Yeah, and that's just it.
But-
Now they're saying that we're able to do it. So as far as when we were first discussing that, I think we can basically pull that information off the board. I don't think we need to discuss any more of that because there's nothing I think we need to change at this point.
Okay.
We can just leave the bylaws like they are and we can just still go forward as the DRB.
Setting that situation aside, what's the status of businesses coming in to certain lots and being approved? So was the problem that these were visible dumpsters
Yes,
from another property? So I have a problem with that. I wouldn't want to buy a property here and have somebody next door to me or down the street coming in and out with business vehicles. I think they should have to rent a commercial property for that.
right, and also.
Now, if they have excuse me, one second. So if they have a piece of property and they put all their equipment behind some barn or house or fence and I can't see it, I don't mind it.
Yeah,
Unless it's gonna make a lot of noise when they come in and out all the time.
or smells or pollution.
I mean, you
or
can
whatever.
approve somebody that has 2 backhoes, okay? And then the guy can grow his business and the next thing you know, he has 20 employees and they're coming in and out at all hours of the day doing some sort of excavation or something like that.
Right, but the DRB would have that, have to look at all those things, the aspects. It wound up being that there was already a permit on that location anyway to do this stuff, existing stuff. But it's just when it first hit us, why I was looking at it was because the issue of holding up a decision for the board to make their decision was being forced by an attorney.
Right, I know.
And I didn't-
Right away he came in here and threatened.
Right, and so that's the only reason why we're looking at it.
But you've got to keep in mind that the attorney was right. The bylaws did not allow for a garbage business there. That's not in the bylaws we read last meeting rather. There was the conditional uses. There was no conditional use for a dumpster and a garbage business and so forth. And I feel like if we try to change the bylaws for every possible contingency, every business that comes in, we're going to just be, what's the point of having bylaws? It's like you said, Stacy, you wouldn't like it if you bought the property on the basis of the bylaws and then come to, somebody just, we're going to change that now. And,
But due process, Stacy would have an opportunity as an abutting landowner to
object right in the
to
beginning.
offer testimony, objections, add to the discussion, maybe change his mind, maybe not. It's, but that's following the due process. That meeting didn't follow any kind of due process. at all.
Right. But except it seems to me that the lawyer was correct and that you guys got really, I don't want to use any bad language, but really aggravated by the fact that a lawyer you felt pushy, and threatening. But the fact is, he was correct about what the bylaws say.
Megan, what my aggravation was that the meeting was derailed.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's what
You
my
don't want that to
aggravation
happen.
was. That does not need to happen.
Yeah.
We need to
no, that's-
maintain decorum in our meetings. The chairman of whatever board needs to be able to hold the decorum in order. And if not,
Yeah.
hopefully even end the meeting or have people leave if they keep disrupting, you know? But that's what my aggravation was, that really the meeting didn't even get off the ground. It was disrupted right from the get-go.
So there are certain commercial applications that can be on residential property, correct?
Yes, so we read them
Like
last.
this, repair, an auto repair place?
There's different stuff. It's all, you know, you have to go through each bylaw to look at which,
But there are existing repair
Yes.
shops on,
yes.
Yes, there are.
how big are these
Daycare.
businesses right now?
Well, that's not even really a business where that location is. It's storage of stuff. He leaves there, none of that stuff it's not like a business working on there. It's just storage of the.
But my point is, you give somebody a permit to do that now, and let's say they get real popular, and now instead of storing 10 cars, you're storing 100 cars, you know? So anytime you give someone a permit, you know, is there a limit on how big the business is gonna get?
Well, there's
Yes,
an opportunity to do things with conditions.
Yeah, the DRB can set
Consider
conditions
all of
on.
those factors.
Okay.
And that's how you determine what conditions you would need to have met.
Right. So like an example of that, we could have, as a DRB, they could have said, okay, we'll allow you to do it by that permit. But if you have X amount, eight vehicles there, then you have to find a different location for that. You could do whatever kind of, you have to have a fence up all the way around or halfway around.
I don't think most people would object to a small business on a residential property, as long as it's not super visible.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that's
The
what.
But once you approve it, and then it gets bigger and bigger, you know, what are you supposed to do then?
Right.
And what do you do if your property overlooks the business? If like your property is higher, so you can't build a fence high enough, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Which I think
that's a
wasn't that the
problem.
case with this
Well,
lady?
if somebody has in my view of that, if somebody has an issue with those, they could put fences up too. If they think they don't want to see more, they can put a fence up to block more
Well,
of
but
that too. It works two ways.
That's not what the bylaws say. The bylaws say the businesses must be screened. They're all through the bylaws, there's talk about screening. It's not incumbent on the landowner who bought in good faith to screen by putting a huge fence around his or her property. That's not in the bylaws.
Well, the other thing it doesn't say is it doesn't say that you can't do it either. If you feel that you want to block something out, you can do that as a landowner.
Of course you can, but you shouldn't have to go to that expense when you bought the property on the basis of existing bylaws. It's not fair.
Yeah, but it's going to be different for each location. That location didn't buy it going into it. They bought it knowing the business was there. Not that business, there was the original one there.
Right.
But
Yeah,
each one would be different.
Yeah, something.
But anyway,
small.
that's what that.
Stacy said he got big. He's decided to go bigger and smellier.
Yeah, no, but that was the basis of what I was looking at doing, is looking at the bylaws to see if there was a problem, why the board couldn't have that situation happen. But based off of what the state has said now, it appears they could just make.
So they can make any decision they want.
Well, they have the right to look at the permit, hear the information, and then that board will decide where they want to go.
But they have to go by the
They can
bylaw.
deny, they can put one in, they can say yes to it, they can put stipulations, they're like a court when it comes down to it too.
Megan, it doesn't matter. That would it would be taken care of in any appeal. If it was wrongfully, if somebody felt that it was wrongfully approved, there's an appeal process. So whether, you can argue indefinitely that it has to go by the bylaws, and it should go by the bylaws. But if
Yes, it should. Or why did we bother?
if something is overlooked, then the appeal process takes care of that.
I
That's what
very
it's there
much
for.
doubt that a garbage business was overlooked, frankly. I think there's quite a few businesses in there.
You really don't know what the determination was gonna be either. Because we didn't get to see a meeting, a hearing really didn't occur because it was disrupted.
Well, I think we should
We don't
enforce
even
the
know what we're
bylaw.
arguing about.
existing bylaws. I think they're really good. And,
Look,
that's
yeah,
my opinion. I
yeah.
go on record saying that.
I think the process is really good too, so, we
What?
just follow, the process is really good too, so we follow the process the way it should be done. And if somebody needs to appeal, then the appeal happens, and ultimately the right decision will be made.
Well, hopefully the DRB is aware of the bylaws and knows what they are and that they're not supposed to
So,
permit.
you know what I would do is I would visit the DRB and ask them if they're aware of the bylaws then.
I think they are.
Right now, but
I
right
think
now,
they are.
I think they are.
They were, aware all along, we.
Yeah.
Okay,
But it was their duty,
When we
it was their
wrote them, we
duty,
talked to
it's their duty
hold on, Chris.
to have a hearing.
We're gonna move on. That was the basis of that, just so everybody know. Moving on, public comment. Is there anybody, nobody's even in the thing. Okay, and is there anything else anybody has that they wanna, is there anything in anybody's mind that they wanna add to an agenda too?
Well, I was interested in reading the article in the banner, Jim Therrien's article about he wrote an article about the Primer property. I think that's the name, that's going into conservancy now. Did anyone see that? But he
Yeah,
also.
I saw the article.
It
Yes, I
was
saw it.
really, it was really nice. This older couple who've been doing this organic farm for years and they're, they put their property into conservancy. And then he mentioned that there were, that the property that you all are always talking about, changing the zoning on, that property is being looked at for conservancy as well. So, and there's another piece as well, which I've forgotten. But I think it's incumbent, I think we should know what's going on before we leap into changing zoning. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay,
The article came out last week sometime in the banner about the Primer farm mostly.
alrighty. Anybody else have anything? No. Anything you wanna add to an agenda or things you wanna talk about? Nothing? Okay,
No, not this meeting.
okay. All right, so, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Vote.
Aye.
Brian Harris, aye.
Stacy Boxer, aye.
Megan Randall, aye.
Fred Miller, aye.
John Bashy, aye. Motion carries. Have a good night.
That was
Night
painless.
all.